would be like if you started really young, like if you had a newborn baby and you started a 529 plan for their college funds, you've got 18 years to figure it out. So that would be long term for you guys, since you're about that age. You really don't have, that would not be in the over 10-year plan. But the Roth IRA, a Roth is a retirement thing. So IRA means individualized retirement account. And what that is, a Roth in particular is you've already been taxed on the money. So you got it in your check. And then you write a check to the bank and say, okay, put this in my account, right? So you've already been taxed the first time you got that money. As compared to if you work for a company, sometimes you can get their retirement and they take it out prior to all those. Remember we talked about the interest or the taxes that come out of your paycheck. They take it out prior to those. So, but a Roth IRA is great because you've already been taxed on it. So when you take it out, you don't have to pay anything. So that means if you put in as a young age, she is maxing out her Roth. So right now is $7,000 for the year. So when she puts it in now, it came from her work salary, so she was taxed on it. When she takes it out, and it's going to grow, right? It's going to grow a lot. She's 18. You know, it's going to grow a lot in 50 years, 60 years. So, but she won't be taxed anything on that money, even the growth of that money. So I would highly recommend a Roth for, remember I said we put the savings away for an emergency fund, right? Once you get over that month, if there's anything in your 5 to 10 year line that you see, car, house, whatever it may be, I would shuffle the money there, or I might even hybrid it and take like, oh, I'm gonna put 50% in that mid-range, and then I'm gonna put 50% over here. When her sister started doing her Roth, she was just gonna put $100 a month in, right? And then she put so she had $1,000, and then she went away to school, and she's like, I can't put in anymore right now. Right now, it's still there. What's it doing? It's making compound interest, right? It's interest upon interest upon interest. Stock market growing, some down a little bit, but it's growing, right? Don't think about it, right? Passive income. Even though you can't do, the maximum you can put in is $7,000 a year right now for your age. It doesn't mean you have to put $7,000. You can put 100 in. Any money in is going to be better than no money. If you can put $10 a week in there, that's amazing. You know, if you can put, $100 a month in, that's amazing. Anything that you can put in there will just grow exponentially. Even if you contribute to a Roth for 10 years, like starting when you're 18, you will have more money and then stop and never contribute again. You will have more money than if you waited an additional 10 years and contributed from that moment on till you retired. Because those 10 years that you started earlier made all the difference in the world. So as soon as my children started getting an actual income, they all set up a Roth account. They didn't max it out every year. They didn't make that much money. But any money that you put in there is going to be super, super helpful.
Do you happen to know if you have to have income through work to be able to open up?
No,
Oh, okay.
As long as you can document it. Like, listen, if they're like, let's say, somebody, your neighbor owns a little business and they do some little stuff from them. If they, as long as they can document that they actually made this much money, if they made $600 or whatever, if they can document it.
Yeah.
They can't just, because you can't put more money than you make, right, into the Roth. So if you make $6,000, you can't put in $7,000. Right? You can only put up. And so for my kids, since they don't really have that many needs, they can, as long as they make $7,000, they can max it out.
Got it.
Right? Because they've got their emergency fund established. So because the huge growth in Roths, the long-term benefits, we try to really focus on putting there to maximize. She can maximize it because she's a little bit better about her money. Her sister, who's a spender, she did not max it out right this year. So she put like $1,500 in. Still, her $1,500 now is still better than doing nothing.
Yes.
Right? Even though she could do more, she's a little bit more responsible with her money. She just is. And so she's putting more. Do you have a question?
Would you suggest with my allowance, I should put some money into savings and some on my card? Like, I get paid $70. Should I start putting $10 into savings and put the rest on my card just to start out?
Well, I mean, if you think about the 50, 30, 20, if you start, kind of saying, how do I spend my money every month, what needs do you have to pay for? Do they have to pay for any needs? Or is some of their clothing considered?
Some clothing,
Yeah.
they'll buy on their own.
Yeah, same thing if they want something
Yeah.
special or something.
Yeah, like if they want a piece of jewelry, they'll buy
Right.
it themselves, yeah.
Yeah, so, but that's more.
That's more ones.
The
yeah.
jewelry, I would say, is more of a want, but I mean, if you're covering most of their clothing, yeah, I would change that 50, 30, 20 to more of like I would say 40, 60, 40% on your wants and 60% on your savings. But depending on how much it is and what you buy, part of that maybe like, do I really need to buy this? Or can I think of having this money of what it could mean 10 years from now? And it's hard sometimes to understand that, right? Like, the funny thing is when you see like these people who have a lot of money, or you think have a lot of money, right? Somebody who drives a fancy car or has designer clothes. Well, number one, we don't know if they have a lot of money. They might have a lot of debt. Because most of the people, if you look at like the billionaires, they really just wear like clothes that we all have on right now. Because they don't have to impress anybody. Because they're like, I'm good. My money. So they don't have to buy a $100,000 Mercedes. Like they may drive an 8-year-old, Jeep Wrangler because they don't have to have it. They're not trying to impress anybody. If you look at Mark Zuckerberg and he's like wearing sweatpants and t-shirts and you're like, this guy's like a billionaire. He doesn't need to, right? Just because you have the money doesn't mean you have to spend it, right? So that's important to know too. So I would recommend, since you don't really have to pay for wants, but you do have to look at your expenses and say, what do I, if I make $70, what percent of that do I want to try to save and what percent of that? And some of it's individualized, I like the 50, 30, 20 because it's just an easy idea, but you can change these percentages to be whatever works for you, right? So it's not like if your needs are less, well then you take that down from 50 and then adjust it otherwise. Maybe you could give a little bit more to wants, but I would definitely amp up that savings, for sure. But there's no wrong answer really, unless you don't have any savings. The key to all being successful and in life is to not spend as much as you make. Doesn't matter how much you make, right? You can make $200,000 and spend $215,000. Do you guys know what net worth is?
And how much overall money you generally have?
How is that calculated approximately?
I'm not so sure. I just know the definition.
Is that like how much your car is worth and like your house is worth and stuff?
That's it. Minus.
Taxes and overall bills and things.
Do you know?
Mine.
We talked about it before, but I don't know if you remember. So it's basically everything that you own, the value of
monthly expenses? I don't even know. Okay.
minus, sort of, minus the debt. So if you have a $100,000 car, you don't have a net worth of $100,000. No, because if you owe 80 on it, your net worth is 20. So you may look at somebody who has fancy cars and all these things, but how much are they actually worth? Because I bet you it's a lot. I mean, we're not talking about these Uber superstars. They probably are worth a lot, But I'm saying a regular person that we see in our neighborhoods, and they have like a really nice car. I wonder, they're probably not as wealthy as they like to show that they're wealthy, right? Because it's not about what you have. Well, it is, but not showing, right? Like, whatever, you're driving your car, well, one is paid off. So if you have a $100,000 Mercedes, if you don't own anything, yeah, you have a net worth of $100,000 on that car. But if you owe almost the whole thing, or you're leasing it, you have no net worth on that.
Cash seems a little hard to tell since down here you can rent expensive cars for you.
Absolutely, yeah. And people lease and constantly are rotating over and getting these really nice cars. And But then there's something, like when the kids were young, I would say, see if you remember, because I haven't said it for a while. What's the best pizza?
I don't know.
I would always say it's the free pizza.
Oh.
The free pizza, right? So somebody's giving out free pizza. That's the best pizza, right? I mean, now taste wise, no, that's probably not the best,
It
right?
depends where they get it.
Right, but to me, the best pizza is free pizza.
Because you don't have to pay for it.
Because you don't have to pay for it, right? The best food is the free food. People are like, oh, do you want this? Yeah, I'll take that, okay. Because then I don't have to buy it, right? And so the key is to use your money in the best way you can possibly use it, right? So, if you have a car, if you don't owe anything on the car, you're probably more wealthy than someone who has like a super expensive car, right? Like me personally, I don't owe anything on my car. So I might have more, even though I look like, oh, well, my house is regular, my car is regular, I don't have anything, we just like to go to Goodwill, Does that mean that we're not, we don't have a good net worth? No, it does not mean that at all, right? It's just, we don't choose to purchase things like that to show. Our net worth is maybe behind us in the bank, right? Not necessarily in things. Let's see. Okay, so jump ahead to, wasn't sure exactly how much we'd get through, and you can always ask me, especially because I live in Berkshire, so.
Oh, good.
There's a page that says what you need to know now. Where is it? Oh, here it is. What can you do now?
That's nice.
And so this is what I would say, like the first thing you need to do that we talked about, like, is making a budget. And it may not be the 50, 30, 20. You may decide on a different split that works for you. And that's fine, right? You have to decide what works for you. So, and then make a budget of what you want to do with it and stick to it. My next one would be to open a high yield savings account, like immediately, like as fast as you can, open a high yield savings account. Again, I think some of the interest rates, I think our current rate is like 3.9. It changed, it goes with the market. So I think ours is like 3.7, 3.9, but there are ones that are higher up there. And then it's all online. So you just transfer it back and forth. And yeah.
Would you recommend with the bank that they have like their debit card with, or with another one?
No.
Or,
They're not
Yeah.
gonna be,
okay.
they're not, I would look and see because you can ask them if they have a high yield savings account. What bank is it?
USAA.
I don't know if USAA has one or not.
I know that.
And actually, being USAA, it is possible that their interest rates on their regular savings account might be more than the traditional. Check on that for sure. Compare them,
Yeah.
right? You always want to go where you're getting the most money. Like we've just been with American Express Savings for 20 years, I don't know,
Wow.
10 years, I don't know. It could have been 20 years, 10, 15 years.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to change every time the interest rate gets higher someplace else. I'm just not going to do it. But if I got one today, I wouldn't get it through American Express because they're not the highest.
Right.
But they were when I got it.
Yeah.
So I would say put it in there and then compare them. Look at the USAA one. But the other thing too is that for savings accounts, it's just far enough away that you're not like, you can still transfer back and forth, but it's since it's at a separate institution, it's enough that you don't want to get to it. You know, you can access it, but it does take a day or two to transfer it over, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, like for me, like let's say I get paid every 2 weeks, right? So I get a check today and I mentally say, these are all the bills that I have to pay, right? Here's my utilities, and you already know what they're gonna be for that next 2 weeks. And then I have a cushion in my bank account that says, okay, just in case something happens, I have to write a check or use my debit card for something, for whatever, they don't take a credit card or something. So I have a cushion and then everything else goes away. Everything else goes away. And I do that every time I get paid. Everything else goes away. And then, that fund, so those interest rates for those high yield savings around like the 4, but anything when my savings account gets too high, I'm like, okay, I'll take a chunk and I'll put it into like an individual brokerage account, which is in the market. Because that's gonna yield me higher interest rate.
Yeah.
So to set your short, mid, and long-term goals, and there's you throw out everything. There's no wrong goals. If you want to, you know, buy something that's really expensive that your mom may be like, that's dumb, why would you buy that? You can set your own goals, you buy what you want if you take your own money and put it, right? Like, she likes really the anime things, and so loves those figures and stuff. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is like so expensive. But I'm like, you know what? Those are her wants. She can buy what she wants with it. And then she doesn't have to feel bad about it. I don't feel bad about it either because I know she's got money going into savings and she has an emergency fund, and I'm okay with her spending. I say frivolously. That would be my opinion, right? Because I wouldn't buy that. But it's not frivolously because those dollars are earmarked for her wants, right? So she's okay to do whatever she wants. But I would put your goals out there and say, where do you want, you know? And there's nothing wrong with hybriding the money and splitting it. Like, maybe I'll put half to a mid-goal and I'll put half in a Roth, and, you know, because putting money aside, even $10 is better
May I have
than
your
zero.
attention, please? The Carolina Courts Library will be closing in 30 minutes at 7 o'clock. All computer activity will begin shutting down in 15 minutes. If you'd like to check out anything, please bring it to the circulation desk at this time. We'll reopen at 9 a.m. tomorrow morning. Thank you.
So the next thing is to track your spending, and that's what I said too, is make a budget and figure out what you're gonna spend. Now, for you guys, I don't know if you have something that you pay every month, you know, probably not, right? Probably not. But you may say, so that might be easier for you, right? So, but track your spending also can be after the fact, like if you can look back in the last couple months, where did I spend my money? Oh, well, I spent, you know, $40 going to fast food, or I did, you know, whatever it is that you spent your money. It's good to just sometimes get it on paper, just because you're like, really? I spent that much doing that? That's not great. That's a waste of money, you know? So sometimes just seeing it helps you go like, well, I'm not gonna do that anymore. Or, you know, especially if there's people who go out to eat a lot, right? Like, if you can say, well, I went out 6 times in that month, well, maybe next month I wanna just do 4. Let's do baby step. You know, you don't have to be like, you can never go out again. And it doesn't have to be so extreme, you know. Finance, just like losing weight, it has to be reasonable. You'll never stick to it. So you can't make this so hard that you're like, forget it, I'm out, I can't do anything and this sucks. No one will stick to that plan. It's not realistic whatsoever. So that's what I'm saying with the percentages, play with them. Find out what works for you. As long as you're saving, you're winning, right? Because you're not spending as much as you make or earn. So, and then the last one was find ways to make money, right? It could be anything. It could be, you know, saying, hey, if I do this, can I get a little $20 to do that? I'm not saying she'll say yes, but I'm just saying, you know what I mean? Or it could be walking dogs for somebody, or sometimes she'll dog sit for people who are out of
I
town.
remember when we were young, we had our regular chores, and then we had extra chores that if we did them, he would give us money. We never did them, but
Right, like I had a list, like if any of the times, these are things that you can do and this is how much it pays. It's kind of like they could go, well, if they're like, I want money for this, I'm like, well, what you gonna choose? Right there, you know, right there on the wall. And they're like, maybe I don't want it that much. But it could be extra things that maybe are not part of your normal daily lives, like
I forgot what they were.
cleaning all the windows now, whatever.
Or
Could be anything.
I would babysit more, but she doesn't want to put my name out there.
Worry about being safety issues?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we worry about safety stuff.
Yeah.
I think that's a valid concern, but maybe people who you know or friend of a friend kind of thing.
I only babysit for one little girl.
Yeah.
But I would like to babysit more, get more money.
Yeah, what I'm saying is like, think about ways to make more money, and there's lots of things that you can do just around the neighborhood. You can even, you know, if you're really good at something, I don't know, if you're really good at sewing, maybe you can,
You can offer
or
them.
crochet, you can make little things and sell them at a, you know, just post online and be like, hey, just made this cute thing,
I
or
remember my school would have, I went to AST, they would have, for the art major, they would have time where they could go out there and sell their art. They
Yeah.
actually bought 2 little ceramics from 2 other people that I knew.
yeah. And then honestly, if you're crafty, not saying you are, or don't have to be, you can sell things on Etsy, like,
I like to
really,
bake.
yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good one too.
Too.
You know, like at where Berkshire are from, they have like their little, I don't know where they come and like there's the tables of people who set up their businesses.
Oh, yeah.
You could go and see if you
In the
could.
spring and the fall.
Yeah, they do that, and
Yeah.
and you could go and maybe have stuff and you can sell or whatever like that. Something like that. It's like it's because in the real world, I mean, you know, the fact that most people are not like these uber billionaires and or even doctors that make $100,000. You know, it's like there's never a downside to having a side income, right? Like even with her, I'm constantly like she's kind of artsy. She's an artist, so I'm like, you need to sell these on Etsy, your digital stuff. And then I'm like, you know, and I'm more of a finance person. So like on Etsy, I have spreadsheets that I sell, like, right, for people like budgeting and whatever. So it's like, that's just extra. And that's also passive income for, well, that part. Baking, you'd have to do it to make it. But like some things like that, like her art, if you're artistic, if you put it out, you made it once and she could sell the digital copy over and over and over and over again. Passively, she made it once, right? So if you can start thinking of things like that, or if you're really good at a certain, if you're really good at soccer, or if you're really good at a science, you can tutor, there's all sorts of things, you know, if you like animals, you can, you know, put it out there. There's a lot of things you can do to earn extra money on top of maybe the $70 that you're getting already. So is there any, I mean, there's so many things that I couldn't get to cover, but there are, you know, there's a bunch of questions in here, and obviously since you guys really want to see, well, you guys will get a book, so
Perfect.
yeah.
Thank you.
Mhm. But I'm so excited that you guys were here. Did you have any questions? I mean, there's just no time to cover everything. There's so much to do.
Yeah, there's some.
That's what I wanted to do to what can you do now thing. So, you know, especially the high yield savings plan is a must do for everyone, I think. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And you have my card now too, so feel free to reach out to me if you have any
Yeah.
questions about anything.
Will do.
Yeah, since we live we live on Great Scott Drive.
Oh, I've heard of that, yes.
Yeah.
We're
Kind of in
on,
we go down Loudon to,
yeah, we're on Craven, right by the clubhouse.
okay.
The
you're right.
last left.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, we're like in that first section, so,
Oh.
but yeah.
perfect.
Thank you so much for coming.
Yeah.
It's so fun. This is my, you know, I wrote this book and it's really a love for me to try to help people, especially your guys' age.
Yeah.
And this was my goal this year was to have 4 of these, so I think this is my first one, so I'm excited, so.
Sweet, thank
Yeah,
you.
I'm gonna probably do some more here, but I'm